We've been hearing a lot from us black men, but now it's time to hear from our black women. What do they go through as black women in America? What are their challenges? What are their overall thoughts on just everything that's going on? Well, we're going to find out today. So, let's chop it up. Today, guys, we have Veracruz style shrimp and vegetables with Fore. Blue apron, as you know, my knickknacks, my ingredients are ready there for me. Let's get it. Doing a better job of prepping before the call. So you see I got my jalapenos, my raisins, my grape tomatoes, my sweet peppers and onions, my lemons and capers. They're here. They're here. I'm super excited about today. We're about to get it popping. Thank you for joining. Beautiful, intelligent, educated, strong black women. And I'm so excited to have them on today's show today. So Dominique, Tonya, I know you guys obviously, but my audience may not know you. So I want you to take a second to just introduce yourselves. I'm going to start with Dominique.
Casey, thank you so much for inviting me to be on with you today. My name is Dominique Hammonds, and I am a clinical mental health counselor and assistant professor at a university in North Carolina. I also am an owner of a private mental health counseling practice in the same state, North Carolina, and I am happy to be on talking about this topic. It's been a passion of mine and something that I have been writing and speaking about lately. So yeah, I'm excited for this conversation.
So my name is Tonya Fore. My most prior role was VP of Sales at a financial services private firm here in Atlanta. I have been working in Atlanta for about 15 years. And recently I'm the new owner of a private online boutique.
One of the things that we're not talking about, I think, enough is just what are the challenges that, black women are having? I know we focused a lot on just, black men recently, obviously, but I think one thing that we don't talk about enough is just, black women in America. What are the challenges?
I think over the past couple of months, as all of this started bubbling, what I have tuned into as I've been reflective is the socialization. So really how I've grown up and the things that I learned about being a woman, but also being a Black woman, and how I've in some ways learned to just really coexist, to live in and work in society. And what I've noticed is that at times I have been socialized to yield to others when I shouldn't. I've been socialized to apologize in situations where it's not needed. Also, working in an environment that is primarily white, I have noticed that sometimes I find myself thinking, okay, is this a hill I want to die on? Like there may be some battles or some challenges that come up with policy or some things that I'd like to say, raise my hand and say, perhaps we should be looking at this a different way. And I sometimes question my thought. All those things, just really go back to socialization, just what I've learned about how to be a Black woman in this society. And I don't love that. So that's me being self-reflective. That's me learning that I need to be okay with showing up as I am and not apologizing for the person that I am. And it's my hope that I'll continue to grow in that process in my career.
What about you, Tonya? What are some challenges that you see, just being a Black woman?
Personally, I think we all have to overcome stereotypes that are out there about the Black female. And I think one phrase is the angry Black female. Then when you compare this to what we're talking about, what's going on in society, I think the cops tried to portray, like Sandra Bland was a angry Black female. Mm-hmm. And so people handle you with that stereotype. So I have found myself going out of the way to kind of overcome a stereotype that may be there that I'm not aware of, that I'm not an angry Black woman. And I am a happy person to be around. I'm very positive. kind, caring person. So that's the personal side. Business-wise, I feel like I have to overcompensate if I'm in competition with a white male for a role. I have to plan and prepare to overcome being a minority and being a female. So I feel like I enter any of those situations already with 2 strikes against me that I need to overcome. I happen to live in a prime location of the protests and looting. I live in Buckhead, in a community in Buckhead. And so I was also struggling with whether I should have the conversation with my 4-year-old or not. And then I was forced to, because the looting was directly in our neighborhood, outside of his window. And so I felt like I was forced to have the conversation with him at that point.
Tonya, just to kind of talk about that a little bit more, because and I saw some of your posts that you had with, you know, the looting being right there outside of your window, and you were literally terrified, you know, because you don't know what's going to happen. You were actually there. So just talk to us about, you know, how it was to be there and just how terrified you were to kind of experience that.
It was extremely terrifying because I actually felt like it was a movie. It felt unreal. So I had to, after that night, I had to really go and like research and try to get some logic around the looting. I'm 100% supporter of the protests. I think that we need to be loud and clear, but the looting, I think the looting lost focus when you inflict terror on, you know, the community, innocent bystanders. You know, did the looters know there was a 4-year-old little boy window and they were shooting guns outside of his window? So my son could have been killed by a stray bullet. And then, you know, that would have been no one's intention, right? And then I just would have been the mother in mourning, right? So, you know, to that point, of the looting, you know, at that point, I just felt like it was unnecessary and the focus was gone as far as the point they were trying to make. It was just unreal. You just had to be there. And I shared the videos because I wanted people to see both sides. It wasn't that I wasn't for the protest. It was for that I felt like we had lost focus at that point and someone could get hurt.
What about you, Dominique? You know, obviously not directly in it, but what are your thoughts on just the protesting and the looting?
Where it gets real is when you start to see how it can impact someone that you know or someone you care about. And too often, I think that we get to look at this from an outsider's perspective. We watch the news or we hear things or see things on Facebook, but it's completely different when we can feel it, when we can touch it. So I don't know. I do really have a mixed perspectives on it.
Your thoughts? Has there been one incident that hit you more than another?
I think coming off of hearing about Ahmaud Arbery and then starting to see this story trickle in about George Floyd and just the picture on the front of the article that I first saw, scrolling through Facebook. And that was enough for me to know this is about to be traumatizing. This is going to be angering and upsetting. And it was a bit of a trigger warning for me. And I really had to sit with, okay, what do I want to do here? Do I want to play this? Do I want to just read it? Do I want to intentionally intake that information? So I don't know that it has been one particular thing. It's been a culmination of so many things that we keep hearing about. All the things that we don't know about, that makes it even more infuriating. So hearing that there are stories that are so similar that have happened years and years ago that are now only beginning to come to light because now this is kind of a hot button issue, that now there's attention on it. And people said, hey, wait a second, what about this and this and this and all of these other stories? You know, I also think about Breonna Taylor and how yes, I mean, so I think in these 3 examples, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor, I think people can pick apart bits and pieces, or that's what I've seen. Well, perhaps if he weren't running in a neighborhood where he was unfamiliar, right? Or perhaps if he weren't presumed to have been using a counterfeit bill. However you want to spin it to in some way villainize the victim of the crime, and I do say crime on purpose, however you want to spin it, I think it gets scarier and scarier for people of color, for Black Americans, because at any given point, as we start to see these stories, we think, this could easily be me. This could be my mom, my brother, my son, someone that I know who is innocently caught in this type of situation.
I think all the incidents are very painful to watch and learn about. What I would say is most recently, you guys probably are aware, now we're hearing all the headlines about Elijah McClain, which is 2 years ago, over a year ago, that his murder is very similar to George Floyd. And, we didn't hear anything about this case. And now the case, I think in Colorado, is being reopened and reinvestigated. What's standing out to me now is that there are so many of these incidents that we do not know about. And there are so many families that are in mourning that we did not know about. And, it's eye-opening. And I think now we have to keep the pressure. We cannot let up on the pressure of change. Burn down the Black Wall Street, So, when we think about, hey, the fire's not appropriate, hey, they burned down the entire city that we built. So, history does repeat itself.
Sure does.
And, to get attention. And sometimes, one of the 48 laws of power is cause attention at any cost. Our generation, I think they need to do fact checking and record researching of how long these protests can take. The Montgomery bus boycott took over 1 year. For 1 year, no Black people rode the bus. No one used the transportation system until it was an actual, impact on the economy, that the bus system was going into bankruptcy. Basically, it was just going to close down. The entire system. That's how bad we made it hurt back then. The tactic was different. The focus was there. There was a finish line. What is our finish line with the protest? What are we fighting for? Once we get the attention, what are we going to place on the table of what do we want? What is the demand? And so I think that's where we are, where we need to keep the pressure, but we also need to identify what is the exact result we're looking for.
These ladies are talking the real. I'm loving it. I know you're loving it. Hit subscribe right now. Come on. So, being that we have a little time left, I just want both of you to take a minute or two and just give some final remarks.
Conversation is that I would just like to leave the audience with the point that I feel like the movement, our most recent movement, has already hit records never achieved in our generation. I feel like we have the attention of all the right people. We have other races in this fight with us that have publicly agreed to join this movement with us. So I feel like we have to continue the movement, continue the pressure in a peaceful protest, but understand that it's not going to be overnight. Understand our history and be in this for the long haul.
From my standpoint as a counselor, take care of yourself. It's not lost on me how frustrating and anxiety provoking and just traumatizing it can be to be in this fight. To watch story after story after story of someone who was just found themselves in a situation and now they don't get to come home to their family at night. So take care of yourself, do something restorative, go to counseling, right? Talk to other people, and recognize that smushing things down and pretending like they are not there, that you're not worried about this or you're not feeling some type of way, that won't help you either. Right? Do what you can to process this and to take action.
You guys want people to contact you? What's a good way to contact you?
Come to my business page. You're welcome to send me a message. It is JustBeCute_boutique. I am a small business owner and a Black-owned business, and I'm very proud of that.
You can find my social media. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, but Instagram might be the best way to find me. You can find me at hammondscounseling.com. Oh, I do have a website. It is www.hammondscounseling.com.
Thank you so much. I admire the heck out of both of you. Like I said, you guys are just beautiful, intelligent, educated women, and with beautiful families. And so I just thank you for your insight and thank you for today. I can't tell you how much it means to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for chopping it up, guys. Finished product. Come on, man. Man, I really enjoyed that show and that conversation with Dominique and Tonya. I mean, it's so great to hear from our beautiful Black women and their insight and perspective on things, and just a great conversation. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit that like button. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit that subscribe button. Comment, let me know what you like. Let me know what you'd like to see. Share. But just like any other topic, it is that time. I'm ready to eat. My wife is ready to eat. And so I appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining another episode of Let's Chop It Up with Casey J. Ashley. Later.